The moment sadness passes the question, Jamie Dornan, and when tears cannot speak. That afternoon took place in a brightly lit studio, but the atmosphere suddenly became heavy from the moment the official press conference was announced. Jamie Dornan, a famous, elegant and always calm actor, appeared with a serious appearance but still had a deep sadness in his eyes. The bell of the wall clock counted each second, as if repeating, "Life goes by, but the questions keep coming." Reporters from everywhere pointed their lenses and microphones at him. While everyone was waiting to hear the official announcement, suddenly a question fell, like a cold knife. "Can you share the reason for your divorce with Amelia Warner?" Without waiting for careful preparation, that question rang out in the light, in the eyes that looked trusting and skeptical, in the cramped beat of thousands of hearts. 2. The moment of tension blooms. All was silent. Jamie stood there, silent as a bronze statue, eyes red, heart clenched. A wave of emotions invaded, pain, despair, and regret that had not yet subsided. He looked at the audience, then looked up, as if to find some source of strength. But the vast auditorium seemed to squeeze him, the questions intertwined, each look seemed to probe the brokenness in his heart. The coffee lingered in his throat. He couldn't speak, only a heavy sigh could be heard. And then, a tear fell silently from the corner of his eye, before he even knew he was crying. 3. Sad electronics. Memories on the edge. Jamie hadn't expected that question. He was in the stage of wavering between hopelessness and protective instinct. He remembered the early days with Amelia, the eyes of his partner, the small family scenes filled with laughter, the moments of simple love, cooking together, listening to children laughing in the small house, leaning on each other in the middle of the night. Each memory rushed back like waves, constantly crashing. And those achievements that seemed solid, suddenly became fragile like smoke. 4. Tears on the grey stage. Amidst the bright lights, when he tried to hold back, a tear silently fell. The camera flashed continuously. The audience was a mixture of curiosity, compassion and surprise. He tried to hold on to the image, the position of a steadfast man, but tears still flowed. The moment he was no longer a celebrity, but became a human, just a human melting in pain. Who knows about the sleepless nights, the moments when he wondered if he still truly loved? And the reporter's question became the last straw that made him sink. 5. Melody speaks instead of words. He stood still. Then his voice trembled, and he managed to utter a few words. "I am sorry. I am so sorry." More fluent, but still choked. "Amelia and I left slowly. Not because we stopped loving each other, but because we couldn't find a common path anymore." The words seemed to be drawn out bit by bit, each word a broken piece that he couldn't fill with any excuses. "We couldn't go on, and I felt so guilty. I loved her. I've always loved her, but we couldn't be together anymore." Point 6. Sympathy from the public and broken heart. The audience suddenly fell silent as if they could hear the sound of broken hearts. Many people who had loved the couple were about to cry with him. Some reporters said softly, "Thank you for sharing so honestly." In Jamie's eyes, it was acceptance and sympathy, no judgment, just understanding. 7. Listening instead of asking. After that, Jamie fell silent, not answering anything more. That silence was deeper than any report. He focused on breathing, to overcome the broken emotions in his heart. A logistics staff gently handed him a glass of water. He thanked him with tears in his eyes. A moment of peace in the chaotic dream. The cameras were still focused on him, but he was back to a real person, no longer a symbol or an image. 8. The end of the story. When people see love cracks, At the end of the press conference, Jamie left the stage, clutching the glass of water, and walked toward the wings. Under the light from behind the stage curtain, he looked back at his face in the mirror, a red face. He smiled naturally and gently. So the story ended at the press conference, but it was not the end. It was a beginning for healing, for renewal, and for love. Although it may have ended, it is still an inspiration for the future.